Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is: are the Clippers showing that they are much tougher mentally? They're a tougher mentally team this year. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, be sure to check out our Dreamerspro Premium platform that we're launching next week, Monday, and be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com. That's coming at the end of this month. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. Now, in the past, the Clippers have been known to blow leads, right? This has been kind of the hat that's been that they've been wearing for the last few seasons. We don't need to go any further than them blowing that 3-1 lead against the Denver Nuggets. But it wasn't just them blowing the 3-1 lead. It was the leads that they blew every single game all the way to the end. They had leads going into all of those final elimination games, and they blew it. Leads in the first quarter, third quarter, whatever quarter it was, they were always leading, and then they would give up a lead. This has been one of the things that has plagued this team for the last few years, at least for the last season. Now, some people have asked the question: is it because is it due to a lack of concentration? Could that be the reason that this team is always blowing leads? Is it due to a lack of coaching that not making adjustments, not having the right personnel out there? Or is it probably because they don't have the right players on the court that have the proper IQ to understand, game shot clock, when to make a pass, all of these things that Kawhi Leonard lamented, saying that when he spoke in the offseason, saying these are some of the things that we need to improve upon. It could be a plethora of different things. But this season, however, things seem to be a little bit different. Now let's start. On opening night, they played against the Los Angeles Lakers, right? Forget about the fact that I'm not even gonna dwell on that for a second. I want to focus on this particular point that I'm trying to hammer home. Now, in that game, Clippers got off to a hot start. They got a lead, and they held the lead for an entire game. They played the entire 48 minutes. And some people said, okay, that might have been a flash in the pan, but it showed that they could hold the lead. But then they went to go play against the Denver Nuggets, a team that they gave up that 3-1 series lead to 2 days later on Christmas Day, got a lead on them, and held that lead and beat them pretty decisively. Then they beat the Blazers, right? They were able to hold on to their lead and beat the Blazers. Then they went against the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, they got a lead on them. They played, the Phoenix Suns kept on playing, cut the game. I think they cut it down to one point, I think about 3 or 4 points, I'm not sure, or 2 points or whatever it was. And the Clippers kept on fighting, and then they held the lead, and then they extended the lead, and they won the game. Just last night, they were playing against the Golden State Warriors, and once again, the Clippers got a lead on the Golden State Warriors, but granted, it's still the Golden State Warriors, and they fought back. They kept on playing. They kept on making plays. They kept on executing. The Warriors got back into the game, and at one point, I think it was in the third or fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken, the Golden State Warriors got a lead on the Clippers. I believe it was by 1 or 2 or 3 points. I don't remember. It's a bit foggy to me. But then the Clippers kept on fighting back. No. I think they went down by a few points, and Paul George hit a 3 or something like that. And then they took the lead, and once they got the lead again in the fourth quarter, they held on to the lead, and they won the game because they simply did not lose their composure in those pressurized moments. And for me, this is a big step. This is a big step for this team because usually in those type of situations, they will capitulate. Now, I've been thinking about one reason why I think the Clippers keep losing these leads, and maybe it's just me. I could be wrong. But what I think it could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be, is that whenever the Clippers get a lead on teams, right? Because they're a very good team, especially last night when they got Marcus Morris Sr. At one point, I was looking at the players that they had on the court and the weapons, and it was just absurd. Like, they have so many good players: Reggie Jackson, Lou Williams, Marcus Morris, Luke Kennard, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Patrick Beverley, Zubac, Serge Ibaka, Nicholas. I mean, it was insane the amount of good basketball players that this team has on their roster. Really, it's a lot. And I was just saying to myself, like, okay, wait a minute. This team is now playing well with different lineups and still somehow being able to execute. And after just integrating Marcus Morris into the team, and I was saying to myself, that this team gets leads on teams And the minute they go up 10, 15, 20 points, I think the Clippers lose interest in the game. I think one of the bad things that happens to the Clippers is when they get leads. Because whenever they get a lead, especially if you have like a 20-point lead in the second quarter with like 9 minutes to go, you got to keep playing, and I think they just get disinterested, right? They're like, when is it over? Like, can the game end now? Whenever they get leads early, excuse me, in games, I feel like they most likely will lose those leads because they lose interest in the game, right? I don't know if it's human nature, but whenever things start going well, we tend to get relaxed. It's just a part of human nature. Whenever you're struggling, and the minute things start doing well and they continue to do well, you get relaxed. There's very few people that can keep their foot on the gas pedal when they've already achieved the goal that they want, and then they keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing. For whatever reason, the Clippers, whenever they get leads, man, they just seem to lose their focus and they just get disinterested. And before you know it, the other team, when they're trying to, the other team is trying to get their, regain their composure, they start getting into the game. And once the Clippers lose that intensity that they had originally to go and get that lead in the first place, now they find themselves in a dogfight because now they're trying to manufacture energy and urgency. And sometimes by the time they finally get to that point, it's too late. Like you saw with the San Antonio Spurs, right? By the time they get to that point, it's simply too late. Now, last night, they were able to hold on to that lead. And for me, I think it was definitely a good sign. Another good sign was seeing Marcus Morris Sr. back in the lineup. I recently heard some comments this morning where Marcus Morris said that, hey, listen, I think he said he likes the fact that he supports the notion of Nick Batum staying in the starting lineup because of his playmaking, and he said he wouldn't mind playing on the bench because that would give the bench more of an offensive punch. Now, just yesterday, I thought the inverse of that. I thought that Marcus Morris was better served in the starting lineup because he doesn't need to have any playmaking really because you have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. And they should have more playmaking coming off the bench. But obviously, Marcus Morris seems different. But for me, Marcus Morris Sr. sees things a little bit differently. But for me, I think it's a good sign because it shows that this team, they're only focused on winning. It's not really about egos. That is a fantastic comment to come from Marcus Morris Sr., who was a starter. It shows you that the guy is thinking about the team and he's not focused on the ego of him being the reason that they win. Instead, he just focused on the team success. So this is something very, very healthy for this team. Looking at the Clippers, man, they have a very, very healthy roster full of, they have a very good team. They have very good team chemistry going into this year. I like the way that these guys are speaking. Listen to Nicholas Batum. Listen to some of the things that Kawhi Leonard has been saying. Listen to some of the things that Tyronn Lue has been saying. I really like what's happening with this team so far this season. They've lost some games, but what I'm hearing from these players and what I'm seeing from them and how I'm seeing them fight in some of these games is a very, very, very positive sign. And I think they're tougher mentally this year. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that the Clippers are mentally tougher this season, or do you think it's too early? Some of the things that we're seeing, may change as the season goes on. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoy the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have linked coming up after this. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.